lifted me up in the air. I was just saying, oh my God, we're all gonna die. We're all gonna die.
About that time, the top of the closet popped off, and you could see the kids go up there and just go choo, 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 choo.
Tornado picked up the car, the trees, saw a barn floating around.
I screamed for people, and nobody was there, and I couldn't find the baby.
It did seem kind of like the end of the world.
Hello? You see where we gotta go?
From the Weather Channel, this is Storm Stories with meteorologist Jim Cantore.
Bridge Creek, Oklahoma, 20 miles southwest of Oklahoma City. This farming community was home for 19-year-old Amy CRAGO, her father Robert William, RW for short, and mother Catherine. The family settled here on Private Road number 5 in 1998, after moving from their native South Carolina.
We like being out in the country, but close to the city. So when we moved to Oklahoma, we kind of picked a place that was in between.
We just didn't realize how often and how frequent tornadoes occur here.
The CRAGOs quickly found out. On June 13th, 1998, Amy gave birth to a daughter, Aaliyah. Her arrival was heralded with more than half a dozen tornadoes.
The day Aaliyah was born, it was a wonderful day, but there were tornadoes. There was about 8 tornadoes.
Mother and daughter would soon have one more encounter with a twister. It's the afternoon of May 3rd, 1999. 10-month-old Aaliyah is home with Amy's dad, RW. Amy's mom, Catherine, is on her way to Oklahoma City to pick up Amy from nursing school. The single mother also holds a part-time job.
My mom watched my daughter, took me back and forth to school and work. We were very, very close.
Around 4 p.m., Catherine has Amy in the car. They head to a doctor's appointment. At that moment, an intense thunderstorm called a supercell begins forming 61 miles southwest of Bridge Creek. In Oklahoma City, at KOCO-TV, meteorologist Rick Mitchell is watching the radar. He recognizes a weather pattern known as a dry line.
As that dry air tries to move across Oklahoma, it forces the very moist air to lift into the atmosphere, and that typically produces thunderstorms.
At 4:15 p.m., the storms become more violent, and the National Weather Service issues a severe thunderstorm warning. Even so, Rick believes the computer models are not telling the whole story. Experience tells him there's a good chance of a twister.
And I remember immediately going in, talking to our producers, and saying, you know what, this is going to be a lot bigger than what we had anticipated.
At 4:47 p.m., the National Weather Service releases the first tornado warning.
Go fast.
Storm trackers race toward the open country. Just 27 miles southwest of Bridge Creek, they are amazed at what they see.
2 tornadoes directly next to each other. Unbelievable!
The National Weather Service immediately calls a tornado emergency for South Oklahoma City. Rick's fears are confirmed.
It was like somebody slapping me in the face and saying, hey buddy, it's coming. It is coming, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Very strong.
The parent supercell begins producing multiple twisters across the countryside.
Tornado number 5, Lucy. Tornado number 5.
While some twisters drop and dissipate after several minutes, one tornado in particular refuses to fizzle out. And it's quickly growing into a monster.
I've never seen anything like this, where a tornado touches down and rapidly becomes a very large tornado.
At 6:23 p.m., Amy and her mother are driving home from the doctor when they hear that the giant tornado is now 15 miles southwest of Bridge Creek.
They were saying on the radio that there was a tornado down past Chickasha, and we're looking around going, there's no clouds. You know, it's beautiful blue sky.
At home, on Private Road 5, Amy puts Aaliyah down for a nap and turns on the television.
Passing southwest 100.
Local stations are already live with the mammoth twister that's roaring toward her town.
The tornado is on the ground.
It's over a mile wide, and we're going, a tornado that large? You know, we'd never heard of a tornado getting that big.
Right in front of us. The towering ogre defies all the rules. It's now way up on the tornado scale, with winds exceeding a staggering 200 miles an hour.
It was an F5. Tornadoes just don't touch down and then stay on the ground, at least not in my world. But this one did.
RW doesn't take any chances. He runs outside to pick up toys and other belongings in his yard.
The wind was starting to pick up a little bit off and on. I didn't want the loose debris just flying around through the windows or something.
As the tornado moves closer to Bridge Creek, Amy's mother, Catherine, grows more terrified.
My mom did not like tornadoes, so we didn't know very much about them, but we were just sure that destiny had something in stake for us.
Stay away from windows, doors, outside walls.
The CRAGOs continue watching the news for advice on what to do next.
Find a ditch or a ravine. What I kept hammering people was not to panic. If you can, stay home and seek shelter there. It's better than at the last minute jumping in your car.
We thought about leaving, but they also said never run from a tornado because you don't know which direction it's going to go.
By 6:45 p.m., it's too late to escape anyway. The tornado is about to slam directly into Bridge Creek.
They were saying, if you would like to survive this tornado, you need to seek underground shelter. My only problem with that is there was no underground shelter to seek.
The CRAGOs quickly grab a twin mattress and cram themselves into a small interior closet.
Everybody got in. Amy, Aaliyah, Catherine, and myself, with me holding the closet door.
I had Aaliyah in my lap, and I'm holding her. Everybody's fighting over who's going to hold her. And I'm going, no, I am holding my child.
Just then, the F5 Twister swirls into their neighborhood with amazing strength.
The house was shaking as it approached, and then as it got even closer, you could hear the windows blow out.
The CRAGO's 3-bedroom house is directly in the Twister's path. The mighty tornado slams into it, with winds possibly topping 300 miles per hour.
You could smell the house being torn apart, fresh sawdust, drywall, insulation, all of it.
It blew the house up, and it was popping the door open and shut, and I could see the debris and stuff outside going around.
And Leah was screaming, of course. She didn't know what was going on. It was dark. Everybody was crammed together.
And about that time, the top of the closet popped off, and you could see the kids go up there and just go choo, 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 choo.
And it lifted me up in the air, and I still had Aaliyah.
Amy and Aaliyah are sucked up inside the swirling funnel. Debris is sandblasted against Amy's body.
I couldn't put my arms out because I had my hands on the back of Aaliyah's head. She's only 10 months old. I'm thinking protect her head.
But the tornado is too strong. It rips Aaliyah from Amy's arms and tosses mother and daughter in opposite directions.
I was just thinking, oh my God, we're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. That's all I could think.
As the roaring Twister devours their home, Amy's parents hold on to anything they can grab. RW's wife, Catherine, is paralyzed with fear.
She never said anything to me, although I could hear her praying behind me.
At that moment, the remaining 2 walls crash down on top of the couple. RW and Catherine are pushed across their concrete foundation by the incredible winds. Suddenly, everything stops. The tornado has moved from their home and is heading northeast, leaving behind a dead calm. RW screams for his family as he lies trapped beneath the splintered walls.
And a neighbor come over and freed me. When I got up and turned around and looked down, my wife was dead at my feet.
Tragically, Catherine has been crushed to death. It's almost too much for RW to comprehend.
How do you get over being married 28 years and 5 minutes later, your wife's dead, and boom, there you are.
RW is cut and badly bruised, but he has no time to dwell on that. When he sees no sign of Amy and Aaliyah, fear and panic begin to set in.
My daughter was gone. The The baby was gone. Everybody was just gone. Then at that point in time, I started searching for my family.
As the violent tornado marches toward Oklahoma City, R.W. begins a frenzied search for his daughter and granddaughter. What he doesn't know is an extraordinary discovery is about to take place. That's next, when Storm Stories continues. May 3rd, 1999. In Bridge Creek, Oklahoma, a monstrous F5 tornado has tossed Amy CRAGO 100 yards from her home. Amy's parents are nowhere to be found. Her infant daughter, Aaliyah, has been ripped from her arms.
I stood up and I screamed for people, and nobody was there, and I couldn't find the baby.
In shock and covered in blood, Amy staggers through her devastated neighborhood, searching for help.
The house was gone, the cars were gone, the trees were gone.
The huge tornado is still on the ground, moving northeast toward Oklahoma City. Weather experts are stunned by its size. It stretches nearly 1 mile wide. And even more twisters are dropping from the sky.
It just seemed like all the rules went out the window. The rule is you'll have one tornado at a time. Well, we had 4 or 5 at a time.
Emergency crews are dispatched to Bridge Creek, one of the first towns hit. Just after 7 p.m., volunteer firefighter DESTRY HORTON finds Amy on the side of the road.
She was just in a state of panic. You couldn't really even see her cuts and her bruises from all the mud. She was in shock and just getting nauseated.
I was just rambling on about the baby. You know, I have a 10-month-old baby, and I want my baby back.
DESTRY quickly checks Amy for any serious injuries.
All I could taste was dirt. I ran my hand across my head, and it was just blood, you know.
The firefighter is concerned about Amy's head injuries. He radios for an ambulance to take her to a hospital.
I said, but my baby, I don't care, you know, I want to go find my baby.
We'd told her we'd search for a baby, that she needed to go to the hospital to get checked out.
But with the tornado still causing mass destruction to the north, the nearest hospital is 18 miles south. And the drive will take longer than usual due to the enormous amount of debris on the roads. Amy reluctantly leaves for Grady County Hospital, feeling scared and alone. On private road number 5, Amy's father, R.W., frantically searches for his missing daughter and granddaughter.
I looked around. I didn't really think that anyone made it other than myself.
Grady County Sheriff Robert Jolly is looking for survivors when he finds R.W. wandering along the street.
I encountered a gentleman disoriented in the roadway. He said he had lost his family. He was looking for his daughter.
The police officer showed up and asked me how many was in the house. Of course, I told him, and he started looking around.
It's now around 7:30 p.m., and darkness is closing in. Sheriff Jolly knows that time is running out to find 10-month-old Aaliyah. He parks his patrol car near the CRAGO's destroyed house. With his dashboard camera still running, he searches the nearby woods. Something catches his eye at the base of the tree.
It looked to me like a rag doll. The baby's little face was in the mud, so the baby wasn't saying anything.
Sheriff Jolly quickly wipes mud from the eyes of the limp infant. Then, after being thrown 100 feet, baby Aaliyah is still alive. Jolly tries to find any major injuries on the child's mud-covered body. Amazingly, the tiny baby seems to have suffered only cuts and bruises. It's obvious she just wants to be held.
When the baby reached out for me when I set her down to check her was probably when I started thinking about my own and about being a father. Hang on, baby.
Sheriff Jolly drives Aaliyah 2 miles away to the Bridge Creek Fire Department, where a mobile medical station is set up. Just minutes later, R.W. arrives for medical treatment. He's overwhelmed to discover his granddaughter has survived the tornado.
It was a pretty rejoiceful meeting. And she seemed pretty much all right, other than just being banged up and bruised up.
One of the paramedics examining Aaliyah is volunteer firefighter DESTRY HORTON, who just an hour ago attended to Amy CRAGO. He's positive that Aaliyah is Amy's missing baby.
I knew there was a match at that point, and we wanted to reunite her with her mother.
DESTRY also wants to check Aaliyah for internal injuries. He puts the baby and RW in an ambulance for the 18-mile drive to Grady County, the same hospital where Amy is about to arrive. At 7:50 p.m., the gigantic twister finally dies, just east of Oklahoma City. It's traveled more than 40 miles and lasted an hour and a half.
It was almost as if that storm wanted to live long enough to make it into the Oklahoma metro area, do its damage, and then it was gone.
At 8 p.m., Amy's ambulance pulls up to the emergency room entrance. As doctors rush to her side, Amy begs for any information about her missing family.
I wasn't aware that anybody was still looking for him. I was hoping they were, but nobody was telling me anything.
Doctors determine that Amy has a severe concussion. She needs 27 stitches in her head. Amy is being prepped when Aaliyah and RW arrive at the hospital. Doctors separate the grandfather and infant for their examinations.
I went in one room, doctors took her to another room and started doing the same process of x-raying and checking to see what's broken or displaced.
Amy has no idea they are so close by.
I thought I was going to die, actually. But I was just in there still rambling on and on and on about wanting my daughter back.
May 3rd, 1999, 42 miles southwest of Oklahoma City. 10-month-old Aaliyah CRAGO is being treated at Grady County Hospital after being ripped from her mother's arms during a ferocious tornado. Just after 9 p.m., doctors examine her grandfather, RW, down the hall.
So everybody was being treated in different little sections of the hospital.
RW's exam reveals only minor wounds, but doctors need to make sure Aaliyah has no internal injuries. When head nurse Peggy Riley first sees the baby, Aaliyah is crying and covered in mud.
She was pretty distraught, I guess you might say, and I decided, being the grandma that I am, that I'd go take care of her.
Doctors are amazed to find Aaliyah has no broken bones and no major injuries after being tossed 100 feet. She has only a few cuts, abrasions, and bruises.
The only way a child could survive something like being sucked up in the tornado and thrown to the ground like she was by the grace of God. There's no other explanation.
Aaliyah's mother, Amy, is just a few rooms away when she learns her baby is alive.
They finally came in and they said, "Are you the one with the 10-month-old baby?" I was like, "Oh, yes." I said, "Is she okay?" And they said, "Well, she's crying." I said, "Oh, that's wonderful."
After 3 of the longest hours of their lives, mother and daughter are finally reunited.
She just grabbed a hold of me and held on, and that was the absolute best moment in my life. Even better than the day she was born.
But it's a bittersweet reunion when Amy talks to her father, RW, and learns her mother, Catherine, has died.
First thing I asked him, where's Mom at? And he just looked at me and he said, "Well, she didn't make it." And I was just absolutely devastated.
The F5 tornado leaves a mark on more than just the Oklahoma red earth.
It was the worst day because I lost my mother, but it was the best day because I gained my daughter back. We were given a second chance at life.
Aaliyah, seen here at age 4, doesn't remember anything about the day she defied the fury of Mother Nature.
She was born in the midst of a tornado and also came out of a tornado like that. So it was absolutely unbelievable.
The twister Aaliyah survived was so intense that many wondered whether it reached F6 status. We'll tell you when Storm Stories returns. The tornado that hit the CRAGO house at one point registered winds over 300 miles per hour, the fastest ever recorded by Doppler radar. The outbreak of more than 70 tornadoes that day caused $1 billion in damage and killed more than 40 people. But did the Bridge Creek twister jump up the Fujita scale to reach F6 status? The answer is no. Estimated winds were in the F5 range, and there has never been an F6 tornado. For Storm Stories, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantori. Your local forecast is next.